We're going to really do this off the cuff. I haven't planned a lot. I think we're going. All right.
These walls can talk. Open your mind and listen.
Trailing down these hollow halls, can you hear me? Staring down these story walls, can you see me?
Well, hello to everybody out there right now. Going to be doing a little bit off the cuff this week. I'm going to turn my monitor around here. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so we got a couple people watching right now. I appreciate it. I'm going to move it around here. Okay, let's. Oh shit, Phil, we're going to get all confusing for you. Okay, we'll just jam our asses right in there. See, now that's creepy. Okay, I know I've known you for 30 years, but that's just not. It just doesn't feel correct. You're really the two beard hair. No,
The big patch of white doesn't help.
No, I like a younger man.
No.
All right, let's shut that one down. Okay, so folks, we got a couple people online, and that's good. We're happy to see you guys. Look, for my team down here, that is Phil Booker. He's one of the investigators at CHAPS down here in the Metro Toronto GTA. What do we call ourselves now?
We're more southern Ontario.
Okay.
GTA, Durham region, northern states.
So you just had it completely as confusing as I totally made it there. All right, so basically we're everywhere. See, that's the great reason. When I named this team the Canadian Haunting and Paranormal Society, it's so that we encompass Canada, except for the fact that I get requests from places like the Yukon. Actually get pretty upset with me when I say that I can't investigate. No offense, guys, I can't.
Sorry, took the act.
Yes, it is unfortunate, but I can't travel that way. Okay, good. Everybody's out there. Seeing Tim out there. Seeing Jeff out there. Seeing my Toronto Fire friend out there. Tyler's out there. Kat's out there. I know my wife is watching downstairs. She better be. I'm sure there's people on my team. Eventually, somebody else might, but there are people that are going to. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what? If you have a place that's requesting our services, then that would be an awesome opportunity for you then to guest in there. So yeah. And the closer will be people that will watch this feed after the fact. If we're a little wonky, it's because our camera's wonky right now, and I'm going to try and bounce what I can off Phil and try and make it so that Toronto Fire, I can't really talk about a personal case. As far as the Innisfil home, I can tell you that they had a boxer dog, and they had a farmer's field behind them, like a cornfield. My memories back then, that case was probably, damn it, 5 or 6 years ago now. So I'd have to look into the details about that there. But
before me, so
yeah, I can't really disclose much about it. Going into what's going on, everything with our team is what it is. I'm looking up my calendar on the wall.
Hi, Ron.
What?
I just said hi, Ron.
Oh, hi, Ron. And then you'd see, now you're bouncing things off me, but you've already ruined it by messing up my flow, dude. Let's see what's coming up next. Okay, well we have an investigation in the Eastern Durham region coming up in March, and then we have an investigation coming up in Picton in March, and then we have an investigation at the old Angel Inn coming in March, and at an undisclosed building in Brantford. So I'm working with a bunch of other teams in March, which is really fantastic. Going into April, well, I have a one-on-one that I'm teaching April 28th in Renfrew. My own team is having a meeting in April. So we're going to have a pretty busy time, and that's a great thing about it. So one of the things I do want to mention before I get off on foot tonight on tonight's topic, I had a lot of emails as of late, like an inordinate amount of emails about people messaging me, having involvement with the church. Which is fine, you know what I mean? But we're not really affiliated with the church. Also stating that their house is haunted. They know for sure their house is haunted, and they need the ghost to be gone. Now look, Honestly, none of you that are paranormal investigators or otherwise can say, I can come into your house and take away your ghost. You can't. Okay, because in essence, as investigators, we haven't really proven the existence of ghosts yet. So basically, all we can do, and what you should be saying to your clients, hopefully, if not, whatever, that's the way you're going to do things, is that we can ask it to leave. Hopefully, what we're trying to do is somewhat determine what it could be, pragmatic rationale as to what could be there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and giving some physical reasons as to why certain things are happening. But nobody can prove a ghost. We have evidence. Proof is not a word. Proof means that it's indisputable. It's down, right? So is that one in, I don't know, pet happening? I don't know. Cat. You're gonna have to talk about that one on the board. We do have a couple of my investigators on here tonight too, which is good. So it's really important that we don't use the proof word. That is largely, even topically, some of the things that we're going to discuss tonight. It makes us all look pretty bad, actually. I think, unfortunately, we seem to think that we're kind of like bringing science and the paranormal together, which is a joke, I assure you. There's no science organization out there that looks at us as a viable science. Okay, it's not happening. And so we got to kind of open up our mind to realize that.
Fire makes a good point saying remain skeptic. That's a good thing to basically hit on what you just talked about. Scientific proof and skepticism, if you think about it, kind of go hand in hand because, like you said, we aren't scientists.
We're not.
We don't have proof. We try and document evidence.
Yes. And when you present it to a client, like when I'm done a case, I can offer my opinion.
Exactly.
And that's all we can do. I kind of get a bit of a chuckle. Jeff, do I use cleansers? Lysol? Lysol's a big one in this house. No. I'm not a cleanser. I'm not a cleric. Frankly, that may sound a little chip that I'm coming across with that. Unfortunately, everybody, and I'm willing to ask everybody here, yes, you do have to go in with an open mind, Tim. But I think what's also important here is that we have to present to a client their open mind, right?
Yeah.
So they've got to be open to the fact that what they're seeing or thinking isn't necessarily what's really happening.
Right, because the mind, we know, plays tricks. And once you start getting stuff set into your mind that this is happening, your mind will continue to tell you this is happening. So the slightest little noise or shifting of something at the corner of your eye, shadow that you think you may have saw, your mind's going to play games on that. If you've determined already in your head, this is already happening.
Exactly. So I think it's important to go in with an open mind, but you've got to go in, I think, with the mindset of
don't expect anything.
Don't expect anything. Attain the needed evidence or data to be able to work out a hypothesis. Don't go in proving that there's a ghost there. That's in my opinion kind of the wrong. Yeah, I will agree with you on that one, Toronto. Steve, is it Steve Huff? I think it's Steve Huff. Huff is ridiculous. I can't even talk enough bad about the ones in the States that come up with these devices, and I'm not really overly a device guy. I'll test devices, but I'll also give very, very honest results. So what I want to talk about tonight is based on that, because the fact that I've had so many messages lately, and people get right rancid with me on email about they know that their house is haunted. Well, then if you know your house is haunted, like you know it, you already know all the facts, you know how, you know who it is, then calling a team in like mine anyway is pointless.
Yeah. Because
I'm not going to offer you anything. I'll contact somebody cleric for you, like a priest or whatever. I do find it a little funny, not trying to be rude, because I know this is done. People smudge, people do this and that. It seems a heavy trend now that every team seems to offer some sort of native cleansing. Not saying it's wrong, whatever your level of faith is. But I think it's indicative. It's almost like you and I going to Romania and investigating a castle in English.
Exactly.
Okay, so if that home, and we've dealt with, say, as a medium, I know that's very involved with the Native community, and it's really interesting stuff. I'm not Native. Okay, I know nothing about the Native community. I'm as little little kid from Oshawa, grew up in the burbs. I honestly, I grew up in the spiritualist church. So I grew up around mediums and psychics. I assure you, when everybody tells me that they're a psychic or a medium and they think that I'm a ball buster when it comes to mediums, I grew up in the church. I've attained training since I was a little boy. So I get it. I do. I get it. But I do think what's important with the whole smudging thing and the trends thing is we tend to follow trends that seem to be what we're supposed to be doing. Our team is also smudged. We happen to have Kathy is Algonquin, and she had a client ask her to do it. She knows how to do the process, which is fine. Whatever. I'm more into what the client asks, but don't think that the smudging is a cure-all for everything. You might be a Catholic, you may be a Jew. I mean, if I'm Jewish and you're coming into my house and doing a smudging, it's going to mean nothing to me, right? Because it won't, right? So let's put that to bed, I would think.
Yeah, I think the best thing for anybody that says they want to have this spirit leave their house is to contact your local priest or
whatever you
reverend or whatever
you
and ask for a blessing on the house, basically.
Yeah, sure. It can't hurt, right? It's not going to do anything bad.
No.
Even the smudging won't do anything bad. So I think one of the other things too is to understand that a lot of the times, and this is what I've given clients. I can ask it to leave. You can ask it to leave. We can leave little cards all around the house. I can set a bomb off in your living room, whatever it's going to be, to let it go. But what's important here is that I've said that often in investigation, sometimes this is shown afterwards, maybe, that the fact that we're there and it has I say it because we don't know what it is, has the opportunity to communicate, possibly, sometimes has dwindled things because it's almost like, oh, I feel better now.
Yeah.
We don't know that for sure. I'm just saying that's a hypothesis that might exist. There I am. I'm using a science word like I'm a scientist. I'm not a scientist. Guys, I have a high school diploma and I went to college for child psych, and now I sell bolts and nuts for a living.
Yeah.
But I do it really well. So, thank you, Jay-Z. Hey, you were on before calling me a fake. Awesome. Then piss off and go somewhere else. Don't have to stay here. All right? You can call me a fake. I have given no claims as to anything that I do, and you obviously don't watch what I do. Okay?
Hi, Carolyn.
To know how I'm a fake. There are lots of teams out there, Jay-Z, that are fakes, that do present things that don't actually exist.
Orbs.
Yeah. This is your opinion, but you're just being an asshole jumping on a board here, calling a name like that. Jay-Z. Okay. So anyway, and speaking of him, and luckily, see, I've banned him from our YouTube videos.
Oh, Toronto Fire piped in, says he thinks he's talking about his comment. If that's true, Jay-Z.
Well, then you're still an ass. Piss off. So there's going to be none of the abuse going on the board here. For people who are watching it after the fact, obviously there's a live chat board that goes on. I'm not going to have anybody insulting everybody. We're going to have realistic discussions here, respectful discussions. I don't have to agree with all of your opinions, but I'm not going to call you a name unless you come right out and say a name, in which case you're going to get a name back. If you're on YouTube and your profile has no videos, no nothing, no information about you, then shut up. Okay? You can look me up right to my address, to where I work, and to how I do. You want me to come to your home? I will come there and investigate. I'm not hiding behind something. Honestly, there's enough about me online. I can't hide. I've been teaching martial arts for 20 years. I've been doing this for 20 plus. You know what? I'm not hiding anywhere. It's not happening. You're just not me. I don't really care. Okay? So, we're going to go on to the topic. Now on to the topic. Oh, that was a really huge opening, dude. That was 14 minutes of me just talking about nothing.
Well, so, there's points there, but it was...
Well, yeah, but it's a lot of talking.
Yeah, mostly you.
Mostly me. All right, so now I'm having a sip because I'm Canadian. I don't have any Americans on right now. We've got...
Please play again.
Yeah, that's the more Canadian. Okay, so I watched a video from a lady by the name of Sharon Hill. Not putting up a picture, everything's copyright protected by her, and that's totally cool. Sharon Hill, the video basically about paranormal investigators, was brought to me by Brad Bradley of CPRI, which is a team that we've worked with outside of Virginia. Great guys. don't always agree with every single thing that they come to, and I don't always agree with their methods, but that's totally cool. One of the things we all have to do is accept the fact that that team's going to do things that way, and this team's going to do things this way, and as long as we're open and cool with each other and willing to discuss things,
Yeah.
I think that there's some merit to that. I think when you're closed-minded and state that this is the only way, and saying things that don't exist,
Yeah.
then I think you kind of breach that border.
And if everybody was to do the same thing by the book every single time, then what's the point of having different teams, really, if you think about it? Because then you could just call one team, because that one team does the same thing everybody else does.
That's a pretty good point. I think one of the things about what we're doing is it's a hobby. It's a I have a hard time calling it a science. It's a pseudoscience. Let's use that term, pseudoscience. It's a pseudoscience, right? So in essence, I don't think anybody necessarily can be right. We could all be right, and it's one of the things about testing things, right? So this woman, Sharon Hill, had done a study for the Scientific Americans. If you look up NCAS video, you'll see a whole bunch of their series. Good stuff, deep. How shall I think about this? The video is about an hour and 10 minutes long. I posted the link. Yes, I've had strong EVPs. If I don't respond to you guys, by the way, because your comments are all coming up on the board, but I've got a lot of my notes in front of me here. Just a shameless plug for my employer. There's HD Supply. That's my employer. So, right. So if I don't respond to you, I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just that we're doing our thing. Okay. See you later, Ron. Hope to catch this later. All right. So this video, if you get a chance to watch it, the link is on it will be on this. You'll want to punch her in the face. Got to be honest with you. I say that, scriptively. It's not like I'm going to go punch her in the face, just to make it proper. Nowadays, everybody seems to go, look what he made that comment. Oh, I'm offended. He's coming to attack me. I'm worried. Shut up. Okay, so I will say that she got my blood boiling. This is a good thing. This should make my blood boil. This should make every investigator's blood boil. Should make you mad because she's generalist and one-sided and biased, which is what she's calling us, which is fine. Hypocrisy is what it is, but it's totally cool. I can completely respect what she says, though, and I got about 15 pages of notes on it. Really, I can't overemphasize how bold she is. I think the only thing that bothered me about how bold she was the amount of rightness she had in what she was saying. But I'm just like, I guess, you know what, I come across as pretty arrogant. Yeah. Actually, I do. I'm
not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm pretty arrogant. I know that. Look, you know what, I'm 5'5". I'm kind of overweight. I don't really have a lot to be arrogant about, but when we do this,
But because you have passion and you're very strong-willed and you're passionate for this in a sense of you've been doing it for so long.
Right.
Arrogance is also a form of confidence, because you're confident in what you do. You're confident in what you say because you've been doing this long.
Well, thank you. All right, well, we're done. Okay, so anyway, she was very bold, but then again, she's also a scientist. She's studied, right? Yeah. So she's gone to university for years and gotten her PhD, and you got to respect that. Like, a lot of us call ourselves, like, we're a science. We're not a science.
Right.
Most of us don't use the scientific method. I will bring that up, okay? But we're not scientists. And I assure you, the science community does not appreciate what we're saying. Anybody with a PhD doesn't look at us and go, "Oh, you guys are really good." No, they don't. They all think we're a joke, okay? Unfortunately, what's on TV and what most of the teams out, and I say most of the teams out there portray, is pretty ridiculous. And there are some things we got to do to improve our overall image, right? Like, honesty is a huge gig. Honesty is a big gig in what we do, but it really doesn't get followed a great deal. And I've learned this because, like,
it's not saying we're not open-minded, Trauma Fire. It's one of the first things we say is when we start an investigation and everything's ready to go, and a client has claimed that there's something or someone there, and we're all good to go. Yeah, one of the first questions we ask is anyone here? And I'd say 95 to 98% of the time is dead silence.
Absolutely.
But when there is a noise or what we think is a voice, we, as a team, will turn around and say, "Did anybody else hear that?" And then we ask the question with a, "If it was you, please do that again."
Right. And we would obviously go to seek the
The
voice.
source.
So I want to talk about this video. Okay. So again, going back to being, she's really bold, but she's got something to back up about it. She had stated that she had did a case study with a team, so she had gone out with a team. I think that that's a little dangerous because depending on what team she went out with, she's going to get a different idea. You'll have to excuse me. My notes are like scratch worthy. I'm sure Phil can't read a bloody word I have here. So she gave us a name, a euphemism. We are Erigs, and she referred to us over the hour and a bit as Erigs. We're not people. We're Erigs. We are amateur research and investigative generalists or groups. Well, whatever. So basically, we're amateurs, and that's okay. We are amateurs. None of us are professional. None of us are professional. And certainly, if you're getting paid to do what we're doing, you need to get off my podcast because you're a piece of crap. We don't get paid for what we do. What we're doing is hopefully fun for us, fun for the client, hopefully trying to help bring resolve and just an opinion. That's it. Okay? She brought us into the same thing as ghost hunters, UFO, cryptozoologists, and general paranormal investigators, so of any nature. Basically states that none of us have any qualifications to do what we're doing. I think there's some fact to that. I think qualification more comes with the level of experience, but I do think that sometimes some teams have ministers or priests. Some teams do have HVAC technicians and contractors that can check the physical ailments of a home. So I don't think anybody. That's basically like stating everybody that joins a paranormal team is a total goof. In a sense that goofy, silly morons. Throughout the whole video, that's very much the feeling that they're scientists and science is hard, but the rest of us are unqualified to even speak about anything and have an opinion. That would be most haunted Toronto Fire.
Yes.
So she's made some points that are a bit big. She had contest about our pictures. Now, there were some things that she said which are kind of funny and kind of true. Mm-hmm. Cryptozoologists, so we're talking about people like Josh Gates and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, Josh Gates is a board-certified, that's the term, archaeologist. He actually really is the gig. But certainly he's got his thing in drama. But all of them wear Tilly hats. Now, next time you watch a show about Sasquatch or that kind of stuff, they all wear Tilly hats or some kind of hunting hat. I thought that was kind of funny. States that all paranormal teams, take pictures with their arms crossed like this to look serious. Now, of course, they make fun of this. All of this I find a little hypocritical because they're all part of the American science where they get together and talk about idiots like us. So that makes them feel pretty important. I can appreciate that. So they lumped all of us in the same thing. Now, as far as getting teams, my team has pictures where we all look stoic and all. Look at that. I mean, Phil took, exactly. Dude, Phil took some really model-like pictures you took. You're a very attractive man. I'm married. So that's enough. So thinking about this, I want you to think about being on a hockey team.
Yeah.
You join a hockey team.
I am on a hockey team.
There you go. I can't skate. I know I'm Canadian and I cannot
I was just going to say that.
I've been on skates once in my life. So we have a hockey picture where everybody's lined up in their uniforms. Now, the thing they make fun of course, is that we all have uniforms. Well, there's nothing wrong with being proud of being on a team in the sense of being needed. Well, dude, that's why people join gangs. That's why people join fraternities. It is what it is. It's the way humans are. We're designed to be cohabitatable. We're designed to be communal. Right, so it's kind of strange that she made fun of that point. She did make fun of the fact that of the uniforms, and we all do kind of look the same. We have to have the smoky background and the little fucking gargoyle up in the whole bit, which is kind of silly. I laughed at that. It's true. It's true.
It gets a point across.
Yeah, it does. It is what it is. It's true, but it's easy to pick on. Right. It's like we could pick on scientists for being kind of geeky,
wearing their lab coats all the time.
Right. It is what it is, right? So I realize that they're superior to us, But that's okay. When everything happens and the zombie apocalypse comes across, then they'll be living and we'll all be dead. So it doesn't matter. We all look what we're trying to look for as investigative teams, and you're going to have to. I really abbreviated this hour and a half. We're looking for meaning in our lives because we're kind of empty.
That's right.
Again, I find this to be an incredibly arrogant statement. I'll tell you what. We're both fathers,
Yes.
so we have meaning with our children. I'm a grandfather. I have meaning in my grandchildren. I'm a husband. I have meaning there. I've been in management of large business now for 20 years. I've been teaching the martial arts for 20 years. I've been running this team. I have lots of freaking meaning in my life. So I think it's really bold that she makes a statement that we're all looking for meaning. Sometimes I think some things are just interesting to some people. I kind of grew up around it, so it was sort of my thing already. But it's interesting. And if you don't find it interesting, then piss off and go to something else. Do you know how many people join my team that I end up fluffering off because they don't have the same interest when they realize how boring this really is?
Mm-hmm.
We don't go parancing around. Did I say parancing?
Yes, you did.
That's a new word. All right, we don't go parancing around graveyards at night because guess what? Graveyards don't have evidence. Okay, graveyards have grass and
stones.
Birds and stones and dust.
And flowers.
Right, so.
Weeds.
Which location gave us the most responses? Ashmore Estates or Moundsville Penitentiary?
For me, it was Picton.
Oh yeah, Picton. Yeah, we've had some good stuff at Picton as well. Talked about and I'm dancing on this one. Okay, pop culture influence, popular videos. Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Like I got to be honest with you. When we started, I wanted to have like the chroma key. That's the wrong word. That greenish background.
Yes.
That they had on Most Haunted. I wanted that so bad. Sure, I thought it was really cool. And I got to be honest with you, the first bunch of investigations we did, because the first time you see night vision, you see all those floaty orbs. Holy crap!
Surrounded by orbs.
There's ghosts
everywhere.
Right? And then by our third investigation, we kind of rationalized it.
We're in a horse stall, surrounded by orbs.
It was basically, you were excited. And I remember that years ago. And I kind of miss that level of excitement because now investigation is so processed, right? This video is going to go on for days, by the way. The scientific process. Okay, so I'm going to bring up a slide here, guys, if I'm going to do this properly. Nope, my wife did it right. Okay, so the scientific process. Most teams don't actually follow a scientific process. Got to be honest, we kind of do little bits of it here and there. But you're going to have scientists go, I don't follow scientific. Look, Brad Badley kind of quashed me on this. He goes, what the scientific process do you follow? I couldn't answer. Now, I looked at it and I went, oh, okay, we do some of this. Yes. Making observations, definitely. Thinking of interesting questions, okay. Formulate hypotheses and theories. We try to. Yeah. Develop testable predictions. Yes. We try to create tests on certain levels. Definitely not like a scientist would. Like no double-blind executions. No, I'm trying to work on things like that the way they do with the psi factors of room to rooms and not seeing what happens. Mm-hmm. But this is just I'm playing and experimenting. Okay, experimenting. I don't think you have to be a scientist to experiment, but really, if you don't play, you never find out. Things like penicillin were discovered by accident, right? So what we do is often quite by accident. Gather data to test predictions. This is something a lot of teams don't do. Right now, I know with CHAPS, we've been doing a lot of gathering weather, seeing if things happen, like EVPs happen more during higher, low barometric pressures and whatever. We also ask our clients to please keep a diary to see if there's a trend that happens, times, days, whatever of the night. But that's as simple as it is. So I would state for most teams, at least for us anyway, we're more of a pragmatic pseudoscience in the way that we're developing an opinion based on experiences and culpable facts. So we put together sort of a thing. So we develop a theory. Now, a lot of the times that's where things stop because, as you'll see, that refine, alter, or reject hypotheses, a lot of the times because when we do an investigation, it kind of ends there. We're not going back to the same home many times, which is something that CHAPS has kind of changed in the last year or two. We're going back to the same location to try to see if we can repeat things and retest. So I'm hoping we're getting closer to a pseudoscientific method. They don't call it that. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a PhD. All right. I don't have those letters after my name. But I think it's okay that I use the term pragmatic because it's logic. My friend Brad is a scientist. He's a chemist. They've got chemists on their team and all kinds of professionals. But even I don't necessarily agree with how they do it. And or how they react or how they don't react. So when somebody asks me at a 101, what do you mean? Are you trying to tell me? I had this, by the way, in a 101, and an electrical engineer came up to me and said, you're telling me with your EMF detector that if, so-and-so milligauss is so high, that's proof of the spirit? And I said to him, and I don't think he was ready for it, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. Do you know what an EMF does? Like an EMF meter? First off, very few of us actually know how to use it properly. Second of all, like a K2, it's like immediate satisfaction. So everybody loves K2. The way we use it is it's kind of like a barometer. It's maybe a reason to ask another question. That's all. I've never based a case off of the MEF detector. I know that a team did that at the Museum for the Automotive. And, look, there must be a girl. What was the claim? By that car.
10-year-old girl
Killed in the car?
Killed in the car. Back in like the 50s or 60s.
But yeah, we spoke to the person at the museum. There was no proof that had anything to do with the car. Might have something to do with the plate. Now, there's something I'm going to haunt, by the way. A plate. But we had gone up and down. We're like, it was really strange. The EMF was high there. But then we went and realized there's a fire suppression system right underneath the floor. So it kind of debunked that, or at least gave enough plausible rationale that kind of, you couldn't go on with that, right? So you got to have this sort of idea that if it's really possible that it could be, then it is. Because what you want to be left with at the end is, I have no clue how to explain this. Exactly. And this is what I present as evidence, not proof. Evidence. You can develop your opinion from there. Okay, I've got to blow through this. I've literally got pages. We're half an hour in. Oh my God, am I ever talking? Brings up. Okay, so in her podcast, she was bringing up Harry Price, which I appreciated. But Harry Price was really the first one that really gigged into this and made it an entertainment thing. Cool, right? He had weird devices back then. I've got respect for the man. I'd love to meet him. But she talks about ghost hunters, starting off the thing. Well, really, it wasn't ghost hunters. It was Most Haunted, and before Most Haunted, it was MTV's Fear. Actually, that was the granddaddy on American TV. But even prior to that, In Search Of in the 70s, when you're talking about the paranormal, that's really? Remember In Search Of? That was Leonard Nimoy. And
yes.
Right. And then in the late 50s, it was something called One Step Beyond. So yeah, these way before me too, buddy. I was born in 71. So there's all kinds of shows that existed prior, right? But basically stating that that's what it is. Some of her other comments, she's very generalized, loves our gadgets. Yeah. Look, I have no time for Ovilus. I have no time for Spirit Box. I have no time for any of that. It's too fallible. That's my opinion. Dude, all right? Some of you guys are going to get really, really mad at me about that. That's okay. It's okay that you're mad at me. I don't care for any of that stuff. It's just too fallible, right? So, and we're early into that. Again, very generalized, and we're all just gadget freaks. Some of us actually like to test these gadgets and get an opinion by them. Like right now, I'm testing the Kinect. I don't really have a lot of faith in it. It was made for me. I appreciate it. I'm not testing it to say that it's fake. What I'm testing it is to see what parameters make it the possible best way to use it.
Right.
So if really, if your Kinect works every single investigation, throw that shit out.
Yeah.
Because none of your stuff should work every investigation. If your Kinect works and comes a result at 1 out of 100 investigations,
again, that you can't explain,
then maybe it's worth something. Okay, so it is just a device. That's all it is. Teams that follow TV. There are a lot of us that do it. I get inspired by TV. That's fine. It's okay to say you're inspired by something. Mm-hmm. You can be inspired by the bloody Olympics. You know what I mean? You can't base everything. She goes on about cryptozoologists all wearing tillies. I already mentioned that. It talks about the UFO folks. Basically, you have gotten involved with a lot of it for the money and the show. I got to be honest, our team has no time to do crypto. Oh, I think crypto's kind of cool. It's just, like, I'm in Oshawa. What would you follow?
Nothing.
Nothing. There's no Loch Ness, Ogopogo, Sasquatch. There's not Mothman. There's nothing in Oshawa. What there is some drunk guy walking out of the beer store with a case, hopping into the back of a cab with a handful of Nevada tickets.
Yeah.
So that's our version of Mothman here. So I got no time for any of that stuff. So I'm sticking specifically to spiritual discovery. No? Ghost. Ghost hunting I don't like. I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't even know if there's a politically correct term for what we do.
No, it's not. It's not ghost hunting. It's more of a paranormal.
But paranormal would describe like, okay, I'm gonna say paranormal investigator. Fair enough.
Okay.
Speaking that we had spoken that EVP is a form of spirit communication in uncontrolled environment. For a large part, yes, she definitely exposed that because a lot of teams will walk around like a graveyard. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got an EVP and an ovulus hit. Like just the sheer fact you're walking around the graveyard. I mean, the noises that could be happening, cars driving by. We tend to stick to a multiple syllabic word, what you would consider a 1A. It's got to have some inference to what we're talking about, and it's got to be definite as to what you hear. That's just we're kind of picky about that. But she had a really good point because a lot of teams will be like, "Hey, so we're in the graveyard and we're walking by this grave of John Dixon, and did you hear that?
He's right there.
He's right there. He's dropped a cell phone on his desk.
His cell phone on his desk.
So she had made a very, very good point. So that basically means
I got my arms crossed.
A lot of that shows that you're serious. I'm serious. A lot of people see it as being worthless, and I can appreciate it. I guess maybe we've been very fortunate to have a few of them that were pretty good. But again, evidence, it's just our opinion. That's all it is. It's nothing but proof. Seems okay that we express beliefs. And it was like expressing beliefs outside the realms of the church. She kind of made a comment there about how we work outside the parameters and rules, where and made an inference towards the church as in, I think, meaning that because we're not working within the confines of God's rules, which is kind of weird for a scientific person to allude to, because that in itself is allusion to belief.
Right.
I got to be honest with you,
because as a scientist, you're going to lean towards more of the Darwin than you are to the.
She doesn't like. She has another video why she doesn't like Darwin. I think I'm not going to quote that. I think I saw something that would make me believe that. I don't want to quote this lady because she can be really, really cool. From what I know, I think she's actually going to do some work with some fellow teams that we know, and that's fine. But she also states that we should have more scientists go out with paranormal teams. Look, I got to be honest with you. If you're coming out with my team to ball bust, you're not coming out with my team because I don't want to be distracted by that. Okay, if you want to come out to be open-minded and learn about what we're doing, this is totally cool. Right. But if you're like, I'm a scientist and I'm coming to disprove what you're doing, piss off and go somewhere else. Because your mind is already set.
That's right.
And you know what? I'm already set that way that I think half of what's out there paranormal is not true. Okay? Frankly, that's my truth. I still believe most of what I see on other people's videos is crap. And that's fine because peer review is peer review. She states here that... I can't even, I'm going to touch that topic in a minute. Talks about how we lack peer review and that we get very, very violent and upset when people have questioned things. She's 100% right on that. Look, I've created peer review groups here and there. And yeah, if somebody steps up and says, have you looked at it like this? Not saying the peer group I am on Facebook, I don't want to get them upset, but like I belong to a lot of message boards. People lose their freaking minds. The idea about what we're doing is possibly we're supposed to question each other. Is it maybe this reason why this is happening? Ask my team. Somebody comes up with evidence and we shred the stupid out of it and people get upset. You own that evidence. That's what I say to my team. Don't own your evidence. You pick out a piece of evidence from an audio file and you own that damn thing and you want it to be paranormal so badly. Keep your mind off that, okay? Because what you want to be left with is if 12 peers or other teams, and I share my evidence with several boards to get different people's minds. If all of those people are like, damn it, that's a good hit. It's still not proof. Let's not use that word.
Right.
But it's closer to being evidence and closer to discovering a trend, right? Yeah. Phil's going to take over for 3 seconds while I...
Yeah.
All right, Phil. Give me justice.
I'll try. So, yeah, basically, for lack of a better term, proof being in the pudding, if they want to put it that way, is what it comes down to is being objective and having an open mind, in the sense of going somewhere and don't expect a thing, because the less you expect, the better. Because when something should happen, if it does, and you, like Dave said, and it's gone through the boards where 5, 6, 7, 8 teams or team members have gone through this thing and said, I have no idea. Well, now you have a bit of evidence that you can really go at to try to debunk. If you can't, then now you have something that you can say to the client. I have evidence that of this. Is this what you're talking about? And if it is, great. If it isn't, well then, who knows, right?
Sorry, that was like 2 gallons of tea. You were nice enough to bring me tea, and I just finished the tea. So.
I try.
All right. So, a side quick point, because she had made a comment in this that we have very militaristic titles that make you feel important. And uniforms. Well, okay, so I'm wearing a CHAPS hat and a CHAPS shirt that says director on it. It is my title on the team. I did found the team. I don't say founder and director, lead
CEO,
investigator, CFO. I've actually seen CFO and CEO. I'm a director. I kind of thought it was the most fitting, because I just direct ship. That's it, right? I mean, that's all it is.
Team captain?
Sure. Team captain. You call me whatever it is. It's not militaristic. I'm not in the military. I'm not a scientist. But you know what? Hey, everybody calls themselves something. I could have just said I'm just some dude. And realistically, in the end, I said realistically. Did I say that word now too? I'm just an investigator. Okay. I'm not a pro at anything you do.
Welcome to today's Oxford Dictionary. New words.
I'm allowed to make up words.
Hey, that's what it says on the back of your shirt. You're allowed.
That's right. So this is the one that really pissed me off. Okay, states that we have a lot of excess money and serious leisure. She calls it. They call it serious leisure.
We're rich.
We're all rich. Basically, we're looking for meaning in our lives. Again, we go back to that, and that we're doing this because we have lots of time on our hands and nothing else to do. Time? What the hell is that? Dude, I spend 50 hours a month driving back and forth to work. I got no freaking time. It's a passion.
Yep.
I just want to help people. And one of the great things about this, I'm not charging anybody any freaking money. We show up at your house. We do it for free.
That's right.
Right? That's it.
They ask us to help them.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And we go and do the best we can to help that client and hopefully come up with some answer to help them ease their mind.
The real issue behind this is if you do something to make yourself comfortable, then fine. I mean, I realize that maybe we're casting the aspersion that we've dealt with spirit, but I'm not. We don't. Anyway, when we go to the client, we say, sorry, that's Sandy. It is a nice shirt, Sandy. Thank you for making it for me. And the hat's really good too. So I think what's super important here is just to be honest with your client. Like I've spoken to about 10 clients this week and said, dude, nobody's coming and removing a ghost from your house. All right? Pseudoscience. I'm okay with pseudoscience, right? Pseudoscience is a fine word, but that's what it is, guys. None of you are scientists. None of you are doing things science. We're all just being each other. And if you want to call us some ghost counselors, I'm going to put that on my desk. I'm going to get Sandy to make me a plaque. I'm a ghost counselor.
Ghost counselors.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we can go somewhere in Germany and try and talk to Sigmund Freud and get some pointers.
As far as the extra money, by the way, sorry, dear, we're Canadian.
Yeah.
Our government takes 40% of our money and gives it to everybody else. I don't know, 48 or something like that. I got my T4 today, and I wasn't really pleased about it, frankly. You know.
Anyway,
that's another.
That's right.
That's another thing. We'll talk about that another time.
Investigate Parliament and ask them what they think of what's going on.
We actually had a request them to do that, but unfortunately Heritage Canada won't allow it. YouTube. So we're trying to get attention on YouTube. Sizzle videos. Sizzle. That's a good word, by the way. Sizzle. And that basically we're trying to show what we can do. I don't see where that's a bad thing. I've been making YouTube videos for a bunch of years now. I got about 220 YouTube videos out there. I haven't been paid for a single damn one. And we made them all. Sandy works on them for days.
Yeah.
So I assure you, there's a lot of effort put into these things. And it's not to show people that, look, we're the next ghost hunters. Guess what? I'm not getting paid for investigations. Yes, once in a while, I get paid to do a 101. I go up and talk on stage for 3 hours about things that you could not do, right? So yeah, we make some money to put onto our team funds. But I got to be honest with you, I'll never make money back.
No.
I just spent $1,400 2 weeks ago on a video camera. All right, so guess what? It's not happening. So coming down to this, as far as the sizzle videos and production values, she really kind of generalizes a lot of this. And years ago, look, we were contacted by a producer. I'm assuming a lot of you out there have been, and that's totally fine. 99% of you will have nothing beyond the same producer that contacts me will contact all of you in a big ream because they got a great idea for a show. And we'll all work like dogs to get on that show, and then nothing will happen. And that's totally whatever. But I did get some advice from one guy. I was approached by the producer of Ghost Mine to do a show about 3 years ago. I didn't make a good impression because he asked me what I thought of Ghost Mine. I told him it was one of the biggest pieces of tripe I'd ever watched. Of course, I'm talking to the producer of the show. He said to me, one of the things, because back then,
good television.
I did send a bunch of my videos to him because he wanted to see what we did. And he was like, you guys are kind of boring. I said, but we're kind of more on the educational side of things. Not educating like we're teachers,
No.
but more like just trying to show people that what we're doing is a method to it. It's not just hapless. But he did make a good comment, which was, nobody's going to learn anything or care about what you're doing if they're bored.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point. So yeah, is there a bit of sizzle to our videos? Sure, whatever. I mean, Sandy makes a nice production. We want to make it, like, why the hell would I put a 14-minute video online if I know people aren't going to watch it?
Right.
But I want to put videos online because I like to watch myself. I'm egotistical. You know what I mean? Dude, who cares? I'm not getting paid for it. Does it really bother you? All right, I'm not on there talking about I've discovered the freaking Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, well, the whole point is you want people to enjoy the videos because they want to be interested in what we do. And like you said, they're not going to watch a 14-minute video of us standing there twiddling our thumbs.
Or doing nothing but base reads and collecting data.
Exactly.
We do collect data. Okay, one of the things people need to know is videos are compressed for time. If we're there for 5 hours, you've probably got a 10-minute video. Okay, and there's all kinds of like farting and stuff that you're not also seeing because we don't want the client to see that. Literally
gag reels.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to see our gag reels, I'll send them to you. Just email me. Yes, definitely. The next point, she reiterated the fact that the shows affect our behavior. Absolutely. Lots of teams out there I see act basically like they were on a show.
Yes.
And then they talked about paranormal tourism. Totally, 100%. Going to these sites.
Mm-hmm.
Look, every single year our team gets together and we go to some of these sites. Guess what? Because it's interesting. Yeah. Do I think all of us are going to get the same results? No. Do I like walking around a jail at 2 o'clock in the morning? Yeah. Because it's cool.
Awesome.
That's it. That's the only reason why. She also, well, she didn't bring up this point, but this has been brought up. Why do you guys do it at night? So here I'm going to dispel this for you. Reason 1. 99% of us work during the day.
Bingo.
2. There's less noise contamination at night. Less cars whipping by. 3. Your eyes are not your primary focus at night. 4. It's cool. Do an investigation. We've done lots of investigations during the day. We've actually gotten better results than the night. Like, let's say, see you later, Jeff. Let's see, like, when we do Ashmore Estates, it's a hospital, so during the day there'd be more activity, right?
Exactly.
Nighttime, everybody would be asleep. So it happens. But you know, there is a certain je ne sais quoi that doesn't exist during the daytime.
Right. It's also the ambiance, too.
Yeah. Because guess what? I'm doing it for free, and often I'm paying to do it, so I want to enjoy it.
That's right.
This is not something I'm ashamed of. I have a great time doing this. This is fun. It's got to be fun because it's free, right? Like when we did Waverly, it cost us $2,000 to rent the bloody building in the end.
I wasn't there.
No, it was years ago. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that I had fun. I only want to do it when it's boring. Trespassing, the new extreme sport. Okay, our team has never, and I say never, trespassed.
No, we always have permission.
Always. And if you're trespassing, you are not a paranormal investigator. You are a trespasser.
Yeah.
There's not really much I have to say about that. She had a really big generalized statement about that being the new trend. I'm sorry that's happening. but it's not from any team that has any merit whatsoever.
That's right.
Speaks to us as being biased. I think there's a bit of hypocrisy to that. As a scientist, you're biased on that end, which is fine. Guess what? Human beings were biased. I don't like the Liberal Party of Canada.
That's biased.
That's biasm.
I think all politicians are biased. That's biased.
Sure. Sensitives and psychics, we all use them. I think that's general, but it's very true that like they try to use the science, like the sensitives back up the scientific. No, sensitives do not back up. No mediums, no psychics back up scientific. If you want to have what a sensitive goes in, you just say we have a sensitive coming in to see if their findings agree with our findings. But again, it's all just findings. Okay, we don't actually use psychics on our team. Just because I don't have any time for it. We have one that's with the team, but we've spoken and know that what we do is pragmatic. Will I work with that to see what her results would be? Maybe. Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be
Why
interesting.
not? Why not? We have a one-on-one coming up. We're going to be working a lot of psi factors, so we say, and I might work on that. There's only ever been one medium on our team that's ever been worth salt, and that was Denalda Robertson. That's it. So I've only had one. No, I shouldn't say that. Joni had come up with some pretty startling stuff to me, but I haven't worked with her enough to cite that way. Downplays all of our work, and our right to research, and we have no right to research. A right to research. Research is just research. Everybody has a right to research. You want to research buying a house, research buying.
If you're asked by a client to come somewhere or to go somewhere, or if we just happen to come across somewhere, of course you're going to research the background of that place to find out as much history as you can about it.
So it is what it is. We have a right. Unfortunately, the boldness comes in there. The I don't know factor. She states an I don't know factor, so therefore it's paranormal. Well, that's not every single team. So it gets bolder and bolder and bolder as the video goes on. Almost has kind of a glippy sort of laugh at what we do. And, these pathetic souls that think that they have a right to do. Look, we all have a right to do whatever we want. I understand where she's definitely coming from on several factors. Like one is like, if you say you're a science or in science, I can see where she's mad at that. We don't have a right to say it unless you are a scientist. It's like saying you're a police officer or whatever. You're saying something you're not. That I understand. I get that. Okay, like for me, I'm a martial arts instructor. Okay, I'm a sensei. When I see people that claim to be senseis, yet they've had 1 year of training, it bothers me because I got my ass beat for it, and I guess my sensei beat me up, so I learned. I don't like it when other people just throw that term around like it means nothing. So it's totally cool. I get that. I believe she's got a point there. We have science envy. I don't envy science. I don't want to be stuck behind a beaker. It's not my thing. I have certain passions. I appreciate what they do. I'm not envious of it. I don't have time. Like a lot of teams like CPRI, we use them. They have data collectors all over the place. There's two things. One, I don't want that. Two, I don't really have the training nor the desire to know what to even do with this.
Yeah.
It's like talking about barometric readings and that. There's a point to it, and I'm starting to develop trends and seeing that, but I'm still not even sure what to come of it. You know what I mean? Other than presenting the fact that most of our EVPs have happened during a higher barometric reading. But then again, in the end, what does that mean? It means that salt tastes good on food.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just me. I think we're overanalyzing. We're too stupid, basically, on many things. Guess what? We're not stupid. We're maybe not as smart as they are.
Yeah.
But again,
We may not have that high IQ as them.
it honestly there's some bold statements to it. I'm sure she'll rip this video apart when she sees it, and that's totally cool. I expect that.
That's her opinion.
That's her opinion, and I'm totally respectful of that as long as she's respectful. That we teach, but we have no right. Yeah, I teach. I do one-on-ones. I explain to people what we do, and what do I teach? Be safe. Don't run. Don't expect to pay for it. Don't ask for money to do it.
Right.
I talk about how we come across with stuff and what's a false negative and false positives. So if you come to one of my one-on-ones, I assure you some people's one-on-ones are more about, honestly, really kind of how boring this is. Some people have walked out of our one-on-ones going, well, I really wanted to investigate. Now I don't. And that's totally cool. So really what it does, though, is it insults the public, I think, in this video, that they're also quite pathetic.
Yes.
But there's reality to the fact that
they're the ones that want the answers.
Yeah. But the public sees the TV shows, and that's what they determine what we're doing. We're nothing like the TV shows. Portrays us experts, not hobbyists.
But everybody should know that television is there for reasons to entertain.
That's all it is.
Mhm.
And our videos, if all our videos
sell. Ratings sell. I'm not saying, I'm not knocking any team that's on televisions or anything, saying that what they find is not evidence, but there's finding evidence and then there's exaggerating evidence just to make better television.
Of course. And we know them, we've met them. Like the guys from Ghost Hunters are nice guys, but they're TV people, right? But they look like they legitimately started off that way.
Yeah.
You know what? We portray ourselves as experts, not hobbyists. Okay, I'll go on record and saying I'm not an expert in anything.
Nope.
There's nothing I'm an expert at. Like again, I sell nuts and bolts and harnesses. You're an elevator mechanic.
Yeah.
We both drive domestic vehicles.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not an expert driver. Sometimes in the wintertime, I hate the roads.
Oh.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. So there's no experts.
Spend more time talking to ourselves in the dark. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, we talk in the dark.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. So there's my shirt. It's got a saying on the back of it that I coined on a show. Can you read it? Tell me if you read it.
People think it's strange that I talk to nothing, but sometimes nothing talks back, which is true.
Yeah. So, yeah. See, I've got one of those cool shirts that makes me feel like I'm part of a team. That's my damn
or
saying.
An expert.
That's my saying. Okay. So if you see that out there, you know that somebody took my saying. All right. And I want money. Merton's norms. So Merton, she brings up Merton, right? So you can look him up, but talks about peer review and tests that can be reported. I send my stuff over for peer review. A lot of you should. Unfortunately, yeah, people do get really, really, really super upset on other teams. Rather than saying, you know what, maybe I can relook at it, it's like, no, they get really mad.
It's the whole thing about having an open mind. If you're gonna close your mind on it and not open up to other opinions, I mean, what's the point?
And that was the issue that she brought up, that I brought up on my last podcast, with the paranormal unity is really all about everybody just supporting everybody. Well, paranormal unity for me is all about let's work together to provide a better product. You know what I mean? And let's refer the right people and make sure that we're not hurting people and that we're not allowing people to break into buildings and whatever. The people that have a passion for this, that are doing this safely and care, are working together.
Right. Like a well-oiled machine.
We all want to write about it. Choose right. Definitely, we says that we don't want critique. I actually am fine with critique. Some people are not. Excuse me for reading off my notes here, guys. It's all real. And my writing is terrible even for me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Oh, man.
That takes it to a whole new level of chicken scratch.
God, I suck. I feel sorry for my employees.
It's pretty bad when you can't even read your own.
Yeah, I couldn't even read my own writing. So the end of it really... yeah, it was actually a really good video. It did get me upset, and it was largely just due to the fact that she was right on a lot of approaches. Yeah. She really was.
Yes.
She talked about us all having to look a certain way, and us, honestly, I think, we're never going to get the science community supporting us. It's not going to happen, guys. But if we did, kind of like, we're more open to things like peer review. So I thought of some things that we need to do to build our integrity is focus more on debunking. Let's take away the blind faith. I know that this house is haunted. I know because I've worked with demons. I got to be honest with you, 24 years I've been investigating, almost 25. I've never come across a demon. 400 investigations plus. I've never come across anything close to being a demon. Please. I'd like to. Now, I know that sounds like I've had people like, you'd shit your pants if you saw that. Maybe. Yeah. But I'd like to do it once just so I can say, no, actually.
And then you can
dude, I've been there. And
that literally made me crap my pants. I cannot explain it. That was awesome.
I've been scared. I've been scared on an investigation for sure. You know why? Because I'm human. I think, but we need to kill the blind faith stuff. Like the whole I know. Look, I have faith that there's something on the other side. Faith is a very, very objective word.
Yes.
My faith comes from the fact that I've experienced stuff and I've heard stuff. To me, I have faith. Like people have faith in God or Jesus or Allah I have no faith in any of that. I'm not at one bit a Orthodox religion person. I have no faith in religion. Zero. None. Why? Because it's never touched me.
I don't want to offend anybody. I was born and raised a Catholic, but in my opinion, same type of thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's a science fiction novel.
Dogma. It's been rewritten. It's old. But that's an opinion.
My opinion.
Opinion. We're probably both going to die and burn, and that's fine. That's your opinion. Okay, and I respect anybody who is. If somebody wants me to bring a priest in, I will. But that priest will know where I sit with things. We've got to raise the bar for what we do. We want to make sure that I don't even know how to read my own writing. We just need to spell. We need to stop using the word skeptic. I'm a skeptic. If you're a skeptic, then you actually should be skeptical about things. You should question yourself. You should question your own results.
Right. And don't use scientific.
Yeah. Okay. Scientific is a really, really far off word. Okay. And there's far too many teams out there that are really being far too liberal with it. You know what? If we want to be taken seriously at any degree, I don't think they'll ever take us seriously, but if they respect our right to do what we're doing, we need to come at this with a much more respectable approach.
Well, it's not that. Well,
I don't know. Is that the right word
I
to
think
say?
that our team anyway, we are respectable when we approach it. I'm not saying other teams aren't, but I think as a generalization for everybody out there, all the teams out there, CPRI, CPI, all those guys out there, the more respectable we are with ourselves, it's a more confident respectfulness that comes across to the client.
Absolutely. You know what? There are teams out there I disagree with, and there are teams I work with that I disagree with. But mutual respect doesn't mean no disagreement. For example, I work with the guys from CHAPS a lot, Correctional Officers Paranormal Society, Wes Coleman and the boys. I don't agree with all their methods. I don't agree with all their results. I've told them so. But I'm more than happy to work with them all the time. They're really awesome guys. You know what I mean? And I like their methodology.
Yep.
The methodology is fine. I say methodology. Is that too much of a science word?
No. But they're very direct, very in your face.
Yeah. Sometimes we tend to. Let's talk about how we're influenced by TVs. There are groups out there that are like, you come speak to me, spirit.
Yes.
Now.
Damn it.
You know what I mean? And I guess I've done it before in the prison because we've been told to incite. But it's very, very true. We don't go into a investigation with the mindset of, okay, and I've been trying. It's hard. You could tell I talk a lot. But on investigate, shut up. You talk as much as I do, if not more. That last investigation in Bowmanville, I don't know how we got anything done between you and I.
Yeah, I know.
But we tried. You set a close off room and just leave it, all right? And then do isolated sessions. We need to do more to cancel out the opportunities. Something can be wrong, but be natural with ourselves. We're completely fallible, But we have to come in there with respect. Let's not mimic the TV shows. Look, we're not Zach Baggins. We're not running around, and big muscles and 8-pack. I definitely don't have an 8-pack.
I'm more like a mini keg.
I want to, and be like, oh, I'll fight you, spirit. Oh, shut up. We don't even know what's there. Okay, you can have faith or a belief that something's there, but we don't know what's there. And when people are out there and we're talking like this, I can tell you we've tried. If we're working in Quebec, we will bring along a French speaker and they will translate the questions. I've actually heard people talk about. There was a pet cemetery that I saw a video the other day. Would have an ovulus at a pet cemetery. Okay, that's silly to me. And you've got a machine that has a pre-prescribed dictionary, and it's going to convert it from
arf arf to hey there.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're making all of us look kind of silly.
Yes.
Right? So we need to spend some more time not being so damn silly. That's my opinion.
That's right.
It's my team's opinion. Okay? Because I think we look silly enough with what we do, but let's try to objectively stop the silliness. Yeah. And that's totally what it's all about, guys. And working together and being real. All right? If you don't like my evidence, say it. That's fine. It's up to me You know, and you can't say you have to prove it for me. I don't have to prove anything for anybody, but you can have your opinion on my evidence. So we need to like share and peer review and try and reduce the amount of silliness out there. There's 7,000 teams out there. Everybody wants to have a team, and that's totally fine. We all have enough space that we can all work together. Okay, I'm totally cool. You know what? In a few weeks, I'm going to be working with some Brantford teams. You know, and that's totally cool. You know, I'm looking forward to working with Tim. I'm looking forward to working with Glenn, and then the next night working with Ron, and that's totally cool. And I'm going to work with Wes that weekend. I love working with lots of teams.
Yeah.
I love
because it gives you a chance to open up different perspectives.
Yeah, I've learned so much off of teams. Like again, Wes,
Mm-hmm.
I don't always agree with what Cops does, but I actually got some things off of them that was like, I really like the way you do that.
Yeah.
And I beta tested it, and you know what? I liked it.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what? When I work with these guys, like you know, when I work with Brantford Paranormal and you know Kopi, if they're doing something that I think is kind of weird, I might open up and go, so why are you doing that? And that's totally cool. And if I'm doing something that they don't like, they want to open up to me, and I'll tell them why I'm doing it. Right? It's totally fine. But we all need to be that way. And we're not scientists, but look at each other as paranormal counselors, ghost counselors. Ghost counselors. Okay, we have to look at each other like ghost counselors and be all calm and cool and be good with each other.
And
cross your arms.
Cross your arms and be stern.
My glasses glint off the computer screen, so I can't. Oh, I'm going to lower them like this. No, I look stupid like that. Looks stupid.
We all need to work as one. That's very true. Yeah, exactly. We are all a part of a, lack of a better term, a family in a sense of teams are out there to do what we hope is provide peace of mind for a clientele. And if we can't work together as a team and do that, and you're only out there for the fame and fortune of it, then, like Dave said, you're not
going to get fame, and you're not going to get fortune. No. Oh, God, do I know that. You're going to get broke. If anybody's a real investigator, you're broke because of what we do. Yeah. And that's totally fine. I've got no disrespect for what Sharon Hill said. What she did upset me a great deal, and it should, because a lot of us do look very, very silly. And she really pointed out what a lot of teams are. And I got to be honest with you, in my 101, like I'm going to be blowing a lot of my affiliations out the water. And because I just don't want to be reputable. If I want to be reputable, I can't associate. This is why I do go out and work with other teams so that I can develop an opinion. And I've worked with many teams, probably over 40 at this point in time, and developed an opinion on a lot of them and not dealt with them after that. And that's fine. It's human. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's saying that I just can't, I don't get along with their gig, right? And for me, I'm right. For me.
Because you're very arrogant.
I'm not arrogant. Okay, here's the ending, because we're pretty much coming down to a close. Yeah. Am I arrogant? So you can put your answer.
Bring it on, he says.
Below on the video. And if you think I'm arrogant, that's fine.
It's just part of your personality.
It's part of, maybe I'm come across as a little arrogant.
Yeah, whatever. It's you. If that's your personality, people say that, whatever. That's what makes you you.
I'm not maybe I'd be a better dancer, like erotic dancer or something.
I just snorted on a live podcast.
Yeah, I want you to think about that for a second. A pole?
Jesus, now you got me thinking of the Saturday Night Live sketch of Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley.
I'm sorry if I look like Patrick Swayze.
There you go.
All right, guys. Have an excellent night. I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. We'll have one in a couple weeks.
Cheers.
So if you want to throw some topic matter, that's great. I got nothing else to say. So, bye.